It's time for another Colorado Buffaloes position preview, and in this one we are going to talk about the wide receivers as well as the tight ends. We're going to lump both sets of Shedeur Sanders targets into one preview video. Let's start with wide receiver, where to me the most talented guy in this group is Travis Hunter, and that's probably not too much of a stretch. He obviously is going to play corner as well. We don't know how much receiver he'll play, how much corner he'll play, but he's clearly going to be on both sides of the ball. I don't know if he'll be the leading receiver as far as numbers, but I think that he's going to be Shedeur Sanders' top target when he's on the field. And Travis Hunter, to me, is that number one receiver. From there, you go to the two South Florida guys, Xavier Weaver and Jimmy Horn Jr. Last year at South Florida, they were 1-2. Xavier Weaver was number one for the Bulls. He had 53 catches for 718 yards and 6 touchdowns. Jimmy Horn Jr. had 37 catches, 551 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I tend to think they're going to flip positions as far as I think Jimmy's going to have a better season numbers-wise than Xavier, in large part because he was here this spring, has developed a really nice rapport with Shedeur Sanders. He just seems to me like he's poised for a really big year with the Colorado Buffaloes. And then another receiver that Shedeur Sanders knows very well is Willie Gaines, a slot receiver who he played with at Jackson State last year. Willie, 27 catches, 446 yards, and 5 touchdowns last year at Jackson State. One of the top receivers for Shedeur. So look for him to have a pretty big role on this team in the slot. A very speedy guy, could be involved in punt returns as well. And then Javon Antonio is a guy from Northwestern State. A lot of numbers last year. 64 catches, 684 yards, and 6 touchdowns, but it was at the lower level. So we'll see what kind of role he plays. But I have heard that the Buffs love this guy. He's a big, tall receiver, great target. Shedeur Sanders has mentioned how much he's impressed with what he can do. So I expect him to have a big role as well. They've got a few other transfers on this team as well, including Jalen Ellis from Baylor and Tarvarish Dawson from Auburn. Those guys will get in the mix as well. And then there are 6 true freshmen on this team, scholarship true freshmen. We'll see what kind of role they play. Shedeur Sanders has mentioned guys like Omarion Miller and Adam Hopkins have really impressed him. But then also Caleb Mathis is a walk-on true freshman that was here in the spring. His dad is the secondary coach here, and the Buffs love him. He is certainly a favorite for Shedeur Sanders, so he will be a target to watch out for as well. At tight end, in Sean Lewis's offense, typically we don't see the tight end put up big numbers. They're going to be involved, but that we don't see tight ends have big numbers in the Sean Lewis offense. But it'll be intriguing to see where that what the leader is in that, or who the leader is in that group, because Louis Passarello earned his number in the spring, has never been a factor here at Colorado in previous years, but he had a good spring and impressed coaches. But then you have Caleb Fourier, who has got a lot of talent, and his father, Christian, was a great receiver or tight end for the Buffs in the early 90s, but he hasn't been healthy. But Coach Tim Brewster knows that Caleb's got a lot of talent when he is healthy. Then they've got a couple of walk-ons to watch out for, Michael Harrison and Elijah Yelverton. Yelverton's a guy that played for Coach Prime and with Shedeur at Trinity Christian in high school, so look for him to have a role as well. But regardless, let's look at receiver again. There is no shortage of talent there. A lot of weapons, a lot of veteran weapons. A lot of those young freshmen might have to wait, but there are a lot of weapons for Shedeur Sanders to throw to there. And then at tight end, not as many options there, only 2 scholarship guys, but look for some of those walk-ons to play a key role as they provide some depth for this team at tight end.